morning, peeps. Welcome to another vlog. So a couple of vlogs ago, I was at this one house where all the fixtures were a bit old. So recently we got a call back because I ended up changing the guts in one of these toilets, and basically the owner was like, well, what's going on? It doesn't have a good flush. I thought it would have a good flush. And I sort of said to the owner, you know, the initial problem you told me it had was that the toilet was running. So with that diagnosis, I ended up doing a certain amount of repairs to it. I changed the guts, I changed the fill valve, I changed the flapper, I gave it a new supply line basically in order to fix and rectify that one issue. So long story short, they essentially went out and bought a toilet, and that's what I'm going to be installing today. I think we have some other smaller calls as well after that. I'm not sure. But you know how it is in service. Sometimes you start with a day with nothing, you end up with a day with too much, and then you start with a day with too much and you end up with nothing. So it really depends on how the day goes. Let's get to work. Let's have some fun. Oh, and by the way, peeps, you know what to do, baby. Let's go do some delicious plumbing. So peeps, as you see in this video right here, I opted to change out the valve that's supplying the toilet. The thing you have to remember is the previous R19 in this video is around 30 or 40 years old. And tampering with a valve that old is bad policy altogether. So I told the owner right away, look, the moment I try to turn off this valve, there's a big chance that it's not going to hold either when I try to turn it off or when I go to turn it back on again. Because especially with these rotating R19s, what you'll notice is when that gasket gets old and basically deteriorates, water will start coming around the stem, which basically means that that gasket is gone. So it's in our best interest for me to swap it out. That way, if God forbid anything happens in the future, you at least have a valve fit enough to be able to close the water to the water closet. The owner was kind of like, well, how much is it gonna be? So this is what I ended up basically saying. We had changed out the guts like I told you all a couple of days before this. So I essentially said to him, look, they're only a couple of days old. What I'll do is I'll take them out and I'll keep them. I'll reuse them for a job where the customer wants a better price, for example. And by keeping that material this person already bought, I will swap out the valve for no extra charge. That way we're basically breaking even. And the owner was over the moon about this, very happy about this idea. So I went ahead and I switched out the valve, and we were both really happy about the result. The second thing that you're gonna notice is when I'm putting the water closet down, I actually switch out the gasket I initially put in. And this is a really interesting part about having rubber gaskets, which Dad and I use. You will actually feel the compression as the bowl comes down onto the gasket. And if you don't feel the compression, that means it's time to switch out the gasket because the gasket's just not thick enough. And that's one interesting thing in comparison to dealing with wax. The moment you compress wax, you don't lift the toilet up after that, and you really want to make sure it doesn't wobble whatsoever. But with rubber, you can actually get a feel for whether or not the gasket's compressing, which is kind of like a mental satisfaction of, you know what, this gasket should do the job that it's intended to do. It's kind of an interesting little skill set that you develop by using these rubber gaskets. And what you'll notice is I also put a small ring of silicone before putting the gasket down after I verified that's the appropriate size. And we do that for a couple of reasons. The first one is it kind of helps the gasket not move as the toilet is going down on top of it, it sort of has it in place and stays there a little bit better. But afterwards, after it cures, it actually helps keep a seal underneath the gasket itself as well. So it's kind of like a double reason why we do it. It's a little bit of overkill that my dad prefers to do, which in turn I ended up learning and doing as well. But I've installed plenty of these rubber gaskets without putting silicone at the bottom, and they hold for a very long time. It's just an added measure. So instead of the 3/4 inch gasket that I initially put in, I ended up upsizing to the 1 inch for whatever reason. What's interesting about this flange is it's perfectly flat with the tile, so it's installed exactly where we needed to install. So this goes to show you that there are a bunch of variables at play in regards to choosing the size of the gasket, which is why they give you different size gaskets. So I hope that clarified a few things. Enjoy the rest of the vlog. And just like that, a toilet installation done. One thing that I didn't show you guys behind the scenes was that when the toilets are taken out, and I'm talking about the older water closets, what we typically do is we disassemble the tank to bowl, only because there are certain areas in Toronto where they won't pick up the toilet if it's all connected. I guess there's some sort of injury liability or something like that. So I think we're running out to another call to see what kind of work we have there. I might be hanging out with my dad and doing that together. Let's go. Alrighty, couple of quick things. Number one, on the way back, I was at VP in St. Clair. A car kind of waved me down, and my dad was driving, so I rolled down the passenger window, and it was a subscriber. So I just want to say to you, if you're watching, I really appreciate you letting me know that you're a subscriber. He said he's a 5th-year apprentice, and that he watched the videos. Peeps, it means the world to me that you watch the videos. I'm really so happy that they're very useful to you, and that, you know, this subscriber base means the world to me. And the fact that you guys let me know, it means, like, I'm telling you, I don't know if I'll ever get used to it, but it is outside of this world. So brother, if you're watching, I really appreciate you letting me know. You have a wonderful weekend. It means the world to me, honestly. It means the world to me. I wasn't able to get it on camera, unfortunately. It kind of caught me by surprise, and the gentleman was driving at the same time we were, so he was trying to let me know mid-driving. He was watching the road as he was saying it. It was just such a magical moment, because I don't see a lot of subscribers. This is the second time I've sort of been noticed on the streets of Toronto. So it's like, anyways, it means the world to me, so I really appreciate it. Quickly, I just want to go over what we were watching before. So the valve that we were looking at was called a Hans Grohe. This is a high-end valve, and there were a couple of things that were a little bit suspect, so I'm not sure if the plumber that installed it was doing it for the first time ever, because normally what you do, as you saw, Dad's siliconed around it. That's what they typically suggest to do when you do a Hans Grohe valve. That way, if it is leaking the way it is, it actually has a special slot on the trim kit. Got a little notch here where you'll see water come out, trickle out, in case whatever's happening there is happening. So in other words, it wasn't installed to the manufacturer's recommendations, in other words. So what we did was we took it off, and you saw how mangled that gasket was. We managed to swap it out for a gasket of our own that we have. We have kits of gaskets. The only problem is that there were some gaskets in there that needed to be swapped out as well, that really needed to come from the manufacturer than one of our kind of repair gasket kits that we have. So fortunately, we found out what the problem was. We're sending it out, and hopefully when we get the valve, when we get the gaskets back, I'll be able to show that to you when that happens. You know, I'm over the moon right now. It's really cool to meet you subscribers. It's really cool to know that these videos are helping and you're enjoying them. Again, I really appreciate the love and support, peeps. It's a really nice way to head home and finish a day of plumbing. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll see you plumbers very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.